Hello everyone, I Kamini Rathore welcome you all in SWAYAM online course, Industrial Safety and Fire Safety Management. Today we will discuss lecture number 3 from module 3, that is Accident Investigation Process. In this lecture, we are going to learn about various steps involved in accident investigation process, acts and regulations related to accident investigation, accident report form, and about officers who are involved in accident investigation. Here some questions arise that are what is an accident and why accident investigate. So any undesired unplanned event arising out of employment which result in physical injury or damage to property or the possibility of such injury or damage is called accident. We can also say that accidents are events which did not result in injury or damage but had the potential to do so. Investigating accidents is crucial for several reasons. For example, to find the cause, to prevent similar accidents, to protect company interest. When an accident occurs in the workplace, people will be dealing with that emergency and will not have time to put together an investigation plan. Before the accident occurs, develop a written accident analysis plan that will determine who should be notified of accident, establish who is authorized to notify outside agencies and individuals, for example, OSH, fire, police, family, etc. Determine who is assigned to conduct investigations. Conduct required training for accident investigators. Determine who receives and acts on investigation reports. Establish timetables for conducting the investigation and follow-up actions. Here are 7 steps that are involved in the accident investigation process. First is secure the scene. Second, gathering data. Third, developing the sequence of events. Fourth, determining causes. And fifth is recommend improvements. Let's go through these steps one by one. So the first step is secure the scene of an accident. Secure the accident scene as soon as possible so collection of data can begin. The investigation may begin while the victim is being assisted by emergency responders. Do not interfere with emergency responders in any way. The first responsibility is to make sure the victim is cared of. Observations are being made for later analysis. The investigation will normally begin after emergency response is completed. Material evidence will not likely be in its original location. Effective interview will help construct the scene. The cause of the accident is not yet the objective. The gathering of information for later analysis is the goal. The accuracy of evidence will decline over time. Start the investigation as soon as possible, not to establish blame, to determine what harmful energy caused the injury and then what surface and system causes were for the accident. There are some things may be changed after an accident occurs, that is material evidence and memory. In material evidence, tools, equipments and people move or disappear from the scene. People want to clean up the scene so they can get back to work. Protect material evidence so that it does not disappear or get moved. As we know, accidents are traumatic events. There is psychological trauma. There may also physical trauma to the victims and others. Over time, conversations with others and individuals' emotions distort what people believe they saw and heard. Memories of the accident will be altered. This will have negative effects on an investigation, so that information must be gathered as soon as possible. Secure the accident scene quickly. Use tape, rope, cones or even personnel to secure the scene. Securing the scene will help prevent the loss of material evidence. Report the accident of a very serious injury or fatality accident to OSH, that is Occupational Safety and Health Agency, within their specified time frame. Your state may have additional requirements for reporting fatalities, catastrophes, or multiple serious injuries. Once the employer has knowledge that any state or federal OSH reporting conditions have been met, the clock starts ticking for the reporting requirements. Here a question arises about what is OSH. So, on the basis of directive principles as well as international instruments, the Government of India, Ministry of Labour and Employment had declared the national policy on safety, health and environment at workplace on 20th February 2009. The purpose of this national policy is to establish a preventive safety and health culture in the country through elimination of the incidents of work related injuries, diseases, fatalities, disasters, and to enhance the well-being of employees in the sectors of economic activity in the country. Let's see the second step, which is gathering data. Once the accident scene has been secured, gather evidence from as many sources as possible. The investigator must determine what is relevant to what happened, how it happened, and why it happened. Even if the relevancy is in question, document as much as possible. Discard information later if it proves not useful. All items at the scene should be considered potentially relevant. A team approach is the most efficient strategy when conducting an accident investigation where very serious injuries or fatalities are involved. It is important to have an accident investigation kit prepared. The accident investigation kit should be included camera, voice recorder, ground loop impedance tester, sound level meter, Abney level, tape measure 25 and 50 feet length, clipboard, paper, pencils, rain gear, rubber and caulk boots, plastic bags with ties, square French curve template, personal protective equipments, that is eye protection, hand protection, clothing, respirators, hearing protection, strings, stakes and warning tape. Let's go through these methods. The first method is make personal observations. In this method, take notes on personal observations. Involve all the senses, that are what equipments, tools, materials, machines, structures appears to be broken, damaged, struck or otherwise involved in the event. Look for gauges, scratches, dents, smears. If vehicles are involved, check for tracks and skid marks. Look for irregularities on the surface. Are there any fluid spills, stains, contaminated materials or debris? What about the environment? Were there any distractions, adverse conditions caused by weather? Record the time of day, locations, lighting, conditions, etc. and note the terrain, that is flat or rough. What is the activity occurring around the accident scene? Who is there, who is not? This is needed to take initial statements and interviews. Measure distances and positions of everything you believe to be of any value of the investigation. Second method is obtain initial statements. If there are one or more eyewitnesses to the accident, ask them for an initial statement giving an description of the accident. Also try to obtain the other information from the witness, including name of other possible witness for subsequent interviews, name of company, rescuers or emergency response service, materials, equipments, articles that were moved or disturbed during the rescue. In the third method, take photos of the accident scene. Start with distance shot and move in closer as more photos are taken. Take photos at different angles from above 360 degree of scene, left, right, rear to show the relationship of objects and details such as ends of broken rope, defective tools, drugs, wet areas, containers. Take panoramic photos to present the entire scene top to bottom, side to side. Take notes about each photos. These will be included in the appendix of the report along with the photos. Identify the type of photo, date, time, location, subject, weather conditions, measurements, etc. Place an item of unknown dimensions in the photo if hard to measure subjects are being photographed. Identification of person taking photo. Identify the locations photos were taken on sketches. The next method is record video of the scene. The earlier video recording can begin, the better. Once company or other emergency responders are attending to the victim, begin recording video. The video recorder will pick up details and conversations that can add much valuable information to the investigation. Do not get in the way. There are some important points to remember when recording video includes: have witnesses accompany and describe what happened. If possible, reenact the event. Use a tripod when recording video if possible. Stand back from a distance and zoom into the scene. Scan slowly 360-degree left and right to establish location. Narrate what is being recorded. Describe objects, size, direction, location, etc. If a vehicle was involved, record direction of travel, going and coming. Make sure your video device is operating properly, the battery is charged, etc. The last or fifth method of document the accident scene is sketch the accident scene. Sketches are important because they complement the information in photos and are good at indicating distances among the elements of the accident scene. This establishes position evidence. Be as precise as possible when making sketches. The basic component of sketches are documentation, date, time, location, identity of object, victims, etc. Spatial relationship measurements and location of photographs. When sketching, it is important to consider certain points. Make sketches large, preferably 8 inch by 10 inch. Make sketches clear, include information pertinent to the investigation, include measurements, established, precise, fixed, identifiable reference points, print clearly. All printing should be on the same plane. Indicate directions, that is north, east, south and west. Always tie measurements to a permanent point, for example, telephone pole, building and fixed equipment. Mark where people were standing. Use sketches when interviewing people. Show where photos were taken and upgrade the quality of the sketch. After that, ask questions about the records instead of just reviewing them. Some records to review are maintenance record to determine the maintenance history of the tools, equipment or machinery, training records to determine the training received by the victim and others, standard operating procedures to determine the established steps in the procedures, safety policies, plans, rules to determine their presence and adequacy, work schedule to determine if the victim might have been fatigued or otherwise overworked, disciplinary records to determine if disciplinary actions have occurred previously, medical records if permissions granted to determine potential physical, mental contribution factors, EMT, that is emergency medical technician reports to determine quality of response procedures, OSH form to determine if similar accidents have occurred previously, safety committee minutes to determine the history of hazardous conditions, unsafe behavior or program elements, coroner's reports to determine direct cause of injury causing fatality, police report to determine facts when criminal negligence is in question. Here we will see how to gathering data through interview. After the accident scene has been documented, it is important to get details through interviews. The accident investigation interview is done to obtain a comprehensive picture of what happened by obtaining facts, interpretations, and opinions. The interviewer is to construct a composite story using the accounts of the accident and other evidence. Questions need to be designed around the interviewee. Each interview will be a unique experience. Interviews should occur as soon as possible, but usually do not begin until things have settled down. Some people to consider for an interview includes the victim, to determine specific event leading up to and including the accident, co-workers to establish what actual versus appropriate procedures have been used, preferably people that perform the same task, direct supervisor to get background information on the victim. They can provide procedural information about the task that was being performed. Manager can be the main source of information on related system. Training department to get information on training the victim and others have received. Personnel department to get information on the victims and others' work history. Maintenance personnel to determine background or equipment maintenance. Emergency responders to learn what they saw when they arrived and during the response. Medical personnel to get medical information as allowed by law. Coroner can be a valuable source to determine type of fatal injuries. Police if they filed a report. Anyone interested in the accident may be a source of information. The victim's spouse and family may have insight into the victim's state of mind or other issues. Some effective interviewing techniques are: keep the purpose of the investigation in mind, approach the investigation with an open mind, go to the scene, interview the people involved, put the interviewee at ease, express to the individual that our information given is important, direct an eyewitness to explain what happened, let the individual talk, ask open-ended questions, repeat the facts and sequence of events. Notes should be taken very carefully. Do not use a voice recorder unless given permission. Ask for their suggestions and finally thank them for their contribution. The third step of accident investigation process is developing the sequence of event. Determine the sequence of event in the accident process so that it can be effectively analyzed. Once the steps in the process are developed, study each event to determine related hazardous conditions, that is, things and states that directly cause the accidents, unsafe behaviors, that is, actions taken, not taken, that contributed to the accident, system weaknesses, that is, underlying inadequate or missing program, plans, policies, processes, and procedures that contributed to the accident. Each event in the unplanned accident process describes a unit, that is, actor and action. Actor and individuals or object that influenced the sequence of events. An actor may participate in the process or observe the process. An actor initiates a change by performing or failing to perform an action. Action is something that is done by an actor. Actions may or may not be observable. An action may describe something that is done or not done. Identify the actor, then tell what the actor does. The actor is the door, not the person or object being acted upon. Take a look at the statement below. Bob unhooked the lifeline from the harness. In this example, Bob is the actor and unhooking is the action. First, describe the actor Bob, then describe the action unhooking. The lifeline and harness, although objects, are not actors because they are not performing an action. Something is being done to them. Let's see the fourth step of accident investigation process, that is determining causes. The system approach takes into account the dynamic of systems that interact within the overall safety program. It concludes that accidents are considered defects in the system. People are only one part of a system composed of many processes. Accidents are the result of multiple causes or defects in the system. It is the investigator's job to uncover the root causes in the system. In this step, we will go through why accident happen, multiple cause theory, analysis for cause. Let's see why accident happened. Theorists gradually realized that it was not sufficient to explain away workplace accidents as simple cause-effect events. That's why it is important to go through multiple cause theory. Accidents are not assumed to be simple events that are the result of a series of random related and unrelated events that somehow interact to cause the accident. Removing the sharp edge of a work surface does not guarantee a similar injury will be prevented at the same or other workstation. Many other factors may contribute to an injury. An accident investigation will not only recommend corrective actions to remove the sharp surfaces, it will also address the underlying system weaknesses that caused it. Information has been gathered and used to develop an accurate sequence of events. Now it is time to conduct an analysis of each event to determine causes. These analyses are injury analysis, event analysis, system analysis, direct cause of injury, surface cause of the accident, root cause of the accident. Let's see three levels of cause analysis. In an effective accident investigation, the investigator will conduct a three levels of cause analysis, that is injury analysis, event analysis and system analysis. At injury analysis, there is no attempt to determine what causes the accident, but rather a focus on trying to determine how harmful energy transfer caused by injury. Event analysis determines the surface causes for the accident, those hazardous conditions and unsafe behaviors described throughout the event that interact to produce the injury. Surface analysis traces surface cause to inadequate safety policies, programs, plans, processes or procedures. System cause always pre-exists surface cause and may function through poor component designed to allow, promote, encourage or even require systems that result in hazardous conditions and unsafe behaviors. This level of investigation may point to a system component that may contribute to common conditions and behaviors throughout the company. The direct cause of injury involve acoustic energy, chemical energy, electrical energy, kinetic energy, mechanical energy, potential energy, radiant energy, hazards and thermal energy. The point to remember is that the direct cause of injury is not the same as the surface cause of the accident. To summarize, the direct cause of injury is the harmful transfer of energy. The surface cause of the accident describes a conditions or behavior. The result of the conditions and behavior is the direct cause of injury, a harmful transfer of energy. Surface causes are those specific hazardous conditions and unsafe or inappropriate behaviors that directly cause or contribute in some way to an accident. Hazardous conditions are things or objects that cause injury or illness, may also be thought to be defect in a process, may exist at any level of the organization. Unsafe behaviors are actions we take or do not take that increase risk of injury or illness, may also be thought to be error in a process, may occur at any level of the organization. The last analysis is system analysis to determine the root causes of accident. Once an organization identifies inadequate policies, programs, plans, processes and procedures, they are getting to the root causes. The root causes for accident are the underlying safety system weaknesses that have contributed to the existence of hazardous conditions and unsafe behaviors. that represents surface cause of accidents. These weaknesses can take two forms: design root causes and implementation root causes. Here are some examples of safety management system functions and system components. Safety systems are developed to promote commitment, increase employee involvement, establish accountability, identify and control hazards, investigate incidents, educate and train, evaluate the safety program. System components are policies, programs, plans, processes, procedures, budget, report and rules. The last or fifth step of accident investigation process is recommend improvements. An accident investigation is generally thought to be a reactive safety process because it is initiated only after an accident has occurred. However, proposed recommendations that include effective control strategies and system improvements can transform the investigation into a valuable proactive process that ensures similar accidents do not recur. So, let's see what is an effective recommendation. Effective control strategies that will eliminate or reduce the surface causes of the accident are needed. System improvements are required to add missing or inadequate safety system components that are contributed to the accident. Hazard control strategies may be quite effective in eliminating hazards or reducing exposures. Effective corrective actions will include one or more of the following hazard control strategies: engineering controls, management controls, personal protective equipment. In engineering controls, sometimes the cause of an accident is corrected most effectively by removing or reducing the hazards. This may be done in a number of ways, including redesign the hazard out, example, fabricate a guard to reduce exposure, replace the unsafe item with a safe item, example, replace a poor quality grinder stone, enclose the hazards, example, place a hood over a source of noisy printer, substitute an unsafe item, example, substitute a toxic chemicals with a non-toxic chemicals. In management controls, managers employ these control strategies to eliminate or reduce the frequency and duration of exposure to hazards. This is accomplished through managed work practice, effective design and implementation of safe work procedures and practices. Manage work schedules. These strategies include job rotation, breaks, shift work, etc. The last strategy is to use personal protective equipment, that is PPE. Some jobs require PPE by law. This control strategy is used in conjunction with the other control strategies. It should not be used to replace them. When engineering or administrative controls do not adequately eliminate or reduce the hazards of a task, PPE may be needed in addition to those strategies. PPE places a barrier between workers and the hazards. PPE does not eliminate or reduce the hazards. To be successful, PPE is dependent on safe behaviors. Answer the following questions to help develop and justify recommendations, that are: pinpoint the problem, what is the history of the problem, pinpoint the specific solution, who is the decision maker, what is the decision maker's perceptions about safety, what will be the cost benefit if the recommendation is approved, and the predictable cost benefits if not. Let's come to the end of this lecture and see how many sections are there in an accident report form and which acts and regulations related to accident investigation exist in India, as well as which officers are involved in the accident investigation process. So, the following format for accident report form is designed to give emphasis to root causes. Section 1 is background. This section contains background information that answers questions about the victim, the time, date, location of the accident, as well as other necessary details. Section 2, description of the accident. This section presents a descriptive narrative of the events leading up to, including, and immediately after the accident. Section number 3, findings. The findings section describes the hazardous conditions, unsafe behaviors, and system weaknesses. Section 4 is recommendations. If root causes are not addressed properly, in section 3 of the report, it is doubtful recommendations will include improving system inadequacies. Section 5 is summary. This section contains a brief review of the causes of the accident and recommendations for corrective actions. Section number 6, review and follow-up actions. This section describes the action taken to repair equipment, machinery, conduct training, revise policies, etc. The last section is attachment. This section contains all of photos, sketches, interview notes, etc. material to be investigated. Here are some of the key acts and regulations related to accident investigation in India. Motor Vehicle Act 1988, Railway Act 1989, Aircraft Investigation of Accidents and Incidents Rules 2012, Factory Act 1948, Merchant Shipping Act 1958, Civil Aviation Requirements, that is CAR Part 6, National Disaster Management Act 2005, the Mines Act 1952, Accident Investigation Bureaus, that is AIBs, the Building and Other Construction Workers Regulation of Employment and Condition of Service Act 1996, the Dock Workers Safety, Health and Welfare Act 1986. In India, the officers involved in the accident investigations process may vary depending on the nature of the accident, the mode of transportation, and the specific. Here are some of the key officers or positions that may be involved in accident investigations in different contexts. Police officer, motor vehicle inspector, accident investigation unit, commissioner of railway safety, Directorate General of Civil Aviation, that is DGCA, marine surveyors, factory inspectors, National Disaster Response Force, that is NDRF, specialized investigation agencies. These could include forensic experts, engineers, and other technical specialists. So, in this lecture, we have discussed about various steps involved in accident investigation process, acts and regulations related to accident investigation in India, and about the different officers who are involved in accident investigation process. With this, we will end our today's lecture here. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.